Hey everybody, welcome back to another WARNO preview, and today we're gonna take a look at the upcoming Soviet division, which one is it? 35th, whatever this says. Airborne Division, Soviets, of course. Coming together with the 82nd Airborne Division for the Americans with the LAN milestone. So yeah, I already built either deck, so let's build a fresh one so you can, see all the activation points and such. So, it's just going straight through tab by tab. Logistics. We get a supply jeep in form of a UAZ. We get a big ol' Mi-26. Can't even like fit it all in one screen, man. Still a bit, annoyed is exaggerated, but I really wish that he finally implemented the toggle so you could just turn off all the UI elements. But that's beside the point. BRDM, Mi-8, UAZZV that is a bit too long. The name is a bit too long, apparently. And a BMD. Both of them, for now, exclusive to this division. Looking kind of fancy here. I've been told that some of these might be placeholders, especially when it comes to BMDs or BTRDs, and you see on the bottom left, right? This is a preview version, work in progress. Nothing is necessarily meant to be final, so stats, models, whatever, take it all with a grain of salt, alright? Especially balance. Infantry, a bunch of descent. Is it like descent Niki? Something like that? Yeah, I don't know, descent Niki or descent whatever. Airborne. You can also see a new feature, I guess, which is this parachute symbol, which essentially indicates it's a forward deployed unit. Keep in mind that, at least they're testing it out currently, forward deployable units in form of airborne squads, like these units here, can deploy forward as much as currently you can do it in the live version, but the recon forward deployment is getting reduced a bit. So there's essentially two different forward deployment zones, one for recon, one for airborne troops, or paratroopers, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we have CV, we have Saperi with an RPG-7, which I'm unsure if intended or not. They are maybe supposed to have a satchel charge. RPO, they all come at pretty high vet. Nothing here comes at the lowest vet possible, so that is interesting to see. These even come at only elite, these two at least, SPG-9 squad, Faggot squad, BTRD robot or USC. The robot currently has a Kokon. I'm fairly certain they're supposed to have a Concourse, but I'm not 100% certain on that. You also, gotta keep in mind, none of the forward deployable units will be coming in helicopters. And also have UAZ in the SPG-9 and AGS-17. I haven't tried this one yet, but at least in the current live version, these are still a bit underwhelming. Then we have these bigger squads that are not forward deployable and but come in helicopters. Isn't Niki Dish, whatever that's supposed to be. MIT, MI2, nothing really new in that regard. Those are Spetsnaz. They currently have their name missing, but they're Spetsnaz. RPG-29, they're very nice. I think currently the only other RPG-29 squad we have is the dedicated anti-tank squad with like 5 or 6 HP. Gonna be interesting or nice to see that we finally have a kind of full squad with RPG-29s. Once again, not forward deployable, but available in helicopters. And then we have these fellows. Plenty of BMDs. Keep in mind those BMDs have no ATGMs if you're coming from Wargame. Both BMD 1 and 2 have, their guns only. Either the Grom, the low velocity heat gun, or an autocannon. Autocannon set's a bit revamped, and I can definitely say that at least this autocannon, I haven't tested out all of them yet, which is the same as it is on the BMP2, is putting in work. Definitely a lot happier with how they perform now. A BTRD that carries an AGS-17. Once again, if you come from Wargame, you're used to it having a quad PKT. Here it has an AGS-17 and a PKT. Costs 20 points more than the BMD2. Again, maybe they significantly buffed the AGS. I haven't tried it yet. But given how well autocannons performed, I'm not sure if I'd pay 20 points extra for this instead. But again, work in progress. And you can also see that the jeeps are 10 points now. But the guys here actually carry an Igla, which is honestly kind of fun. Certainly better than the German CV that carries a red eye. Then there's Nikki with an RPG 7 VR, 6 HP squad, 7 HP squad with essentially the same thing. One comes in a BMD, so that's why they have a BMD in their name. The other one doesn't. Yeah, I mean you pay 5 points more for having less HP. I mean I get sure they get heavier transports, but you should pay more by having the more expensive transports and not I don't know why they cost more. When in my eyes at least they shouldn't. Also come. That's an interesting one, right? You can get them in the gas, but you can't view this in the unit selection. You can only do that in the armory. I can't compare this with the UAC now, but the UAC actually has better mobility sets than the gas, while still having 5 HP. Is that a unit that has access to both? No. It still has 5 HP, 108 kilometers, 63. 68. And in the case of Humvees or I think the Mats as well, they're even better. So I'm not sure why they are 15 points and the others are 10 points when not rarely the trucks are actually worse. But that's beside the point. Just a small thing. Meta squad. Very nice as well. Once again, they all come with high vet. And then we have this squad, which is again the Pulimachiki squad, which we already had, just in the form of airborne, right? 3 PKMs, RPG 22, yada yada yada. And lots of slots here, very cheap slots. Only 1 3 AP squad slot and 2 AP slots, very cheap. As to be expected. Artillery, we have Vasilek in a towed version, this introduces finally the towed units. And MTLB version. 120mm mortar in the towed version. And 122 in the form of the Nona. Is it really supposed to have 122? These two guys can forward deploy, as you can see. The placement is not ideal. In game, it's very often overshadowed by availability or something. Or in this case, in the armory, it's half overshadowed by the plus symbol, so it's not ideal. Then we have a 122mm howitzer and the Minigrad with 12 tubes. Still costing 145 points though. It's quite expensive. It's like still more than half of the Grad, which costs 240 if I remember correctly. Then we have a D44 forward deployable anti-tank gun. So as given my matches thus far, I'm actually quite surprised at how well they perform. But at 40 points and good stealth, maybe to be expected. Not amazing range, but still good enough. And forward deployment really helps, of course, because once you unloaded them, obviously very immobile. Forward deployable Conquer's UAZ. Good stealth. Obviously BRDM2 Conquerors, which we know already, but this has medium stealth, right? So for 35 points you get 2 more Conquerors. 1 armor. 5 HP and a better off-road speed. But you lose stealth and you're more expensive and you're not forward deployable, so yeah. You have better availability, but that's also one thing that I think isn't final yet. And you get 1 card of T80Bs, not forward deployable. Recon. BRDM2 is known, Razzmann heavy, you know them as well. Desantnike Razzmann, basically like normal Razzmann, except you can forward deploy them. Beton Screw, you know, BRM1, you know already, M8, you know, and the M24K, which is new. Yeah, if you play Wargame, you know it. Instead of 180, rockets weapon, you have 240, which is obviously kind of the same, but you can micro them or like have a very high rate of fire. But yeah, except on optics, 2 per card. Anti-air, not much to choose from. We got the Igla, which come in this Skreshet. Very, very nice. Skreshet having the same gun as the Gas 66 with the ZU 23-2. Same stats, etc, etc. But of course, BTRSD also has a double PKT, I guess, which is nice. You get this exact same gun also in form of a Toad in the Toad version. All 3 of those forward deployable, of course. And the BRDM Australia 1. Helicopters. Nothing really new except for the Akula, of course. 1 per card, 2 cards on Elite. 12 Vickers. They hit quite well. They have no stabilizer. Sub length of 12, so they fire and fire and fire and fire. That's interesting. IG levies, 4 of them. And an autocannon, of course, which is mounted on the side and doesn't have a turret. But yeah, it's an Aquila, has no stealth, unlike in Wargame, in the earlier patches of Wargame where it had medium stealth and there were lots of memes about, oh, the black paint makes it invisible, yada yada yada. AirTab, a bunch of MiG-27s, napalm version, rocket version, which thus far has been quite underwhelming. It is very cheap, but I haven't found it very good, honestly. Struggling to kill like 11 HP squads in even 2 runs, right? So not what I'd expect from a rocket pod plane. In previous versions, they have actually been quite nice to kill tanks from the side. Haven't tried it yet in this version, so maybe it might actually be better for that. But not really convinced of them. And you only get 2 for such a cheap plane, really. 120 points in WARNO is not a lot. It's like 50 points in Wargame. MiG-23 ML. You know this already. MiG-27M with HE bombs, 500 kilogram bombs. All those MiG-27s, of course, 20% ECM. Reasonably fast, but not crazy. SU-25s, we also already had. MiG-29, now also for the Soviets. I believe that's the same loadout that the East Germans have. And MiG-25s, one in the form of the Seed. We had this in the game for a short amount of time until it got removed, presumably because the model wasn't ready or not finished or something along those lines. I don't know, but now it's back. 100% ECM. Usually really doesn't seem to be handing out those 50% ECM stats very nearly as much as they did in Wargame. And an HE version, so a bomber version with 8 HE bombs. Yeah. That's this deck. If you come from Steel Vision, this might not surprise you, but to me, coming from Wargame, it did kind of surprise me that at the end of the day, an airborne division is essentially a bunch of infantry and trucks rather than a focus on helicopters. But yeah, that's what this is. Let me know what you think, and tomorrow I'm gonna show you the 82nd Division, the 82nd Airborne, the American one. Alright, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye bye.